Sisi ni waandaaji wakuu kwa kongamano hili la mauzo ambalo linamshirikisha gwiji wa mauzo duniani Tracy, Azim Jamal, Akash Karia pamoja na Dr. Sebastian Ndege.
I hope this is a day that changes your life, because it's been a day that has changed many lives over the course of the year.
Brian really defines the rules and the principles with real-life examples from his experiences. So his examples are spot on, from Apple to Microsoft to friends that he has like Warren Buffett. You know, these examples have been really specific and spot on. So when you're listening as a student or somebody who wants to learn more, the principles are really adaptive, as I said. Instead of saying, in the real world, Brian goes straight for the real world. He says he breaks it down and really gives the specific examples of how those principles can be implemented even as of starting tomorrow.
He's actually a very knowledgeable person, and what I found is that he talks more about taking action, writing things down, and how your subconscious mind actually processes it when you write it down. So I think that's a tool that I'm going to use in the future.
But what I've learned in these 2 days is more than what I did in 2 years in my MBA course.
I love the speakers. I love Brian Tracy International, and I've been so overjoyed with this program. Thank you so much.
I hope this is a day that changes your life, because it's been a day that has changed many lives over the course of the year.
To begin this day, it's a 2-day MBA program. We do have 2 main speakers today. We'll start off with Azim Jamal, and I'll give you a brief introduction about Azim, which I was supposed to have a few minutes ago. Azim is a speaker who has spoken in many countries across the globe. He's written several books, such as Corporate Sufi, who has been a #1 best-selling author on Amazon in different areas. He has also spoken in various conferences alongside Brian Tracy. He just recently came back from South Africa. Azim was telling me a case study about a couple people who had talked to him after the program. A couple of MBA students came up to him and said, "Hey Azim, do you know, in this 2-day MBA program, I learned more in this 2-day MBA program than I learned in my entire 2-year program, and spending a lot more money." And so we've heard a lot of good things about him. We've seen his stuff yesterday for those of you who are here. And for those of you who haven't, I'll let him do his thing. Azim, karibu sana.
Morning. So really, the MBA program is Brian Tracy's program. I'm going to be just a little bit of an add-on to his program and give a little bit of touch on 4 areas. I'll be focusing on how to have a positive and powerful change management drive in your business. I will talk about how to transform negative ego into positive pride. I will talk about how do you marry IQ, EQ, SQ. IQ is your intellectual portion, EQ is your emotional portion, SQ is your spiritual portion, and I'll end the day with the harmony of business, balance, and beyond. But the crux of the program, the real workbook, is going to be Brian Tracy, who will take you to 2 days of programming. And it's a phenomenal program. My CEO was there yesterday, joined us during the 2-day program, and myself will take notes. So I really commend you to be really focused, take lots of notes, be committed to implement what you learn. And if you do this, the 2 days will be worth 10, 20, 30 times your investment. I'm not joking. It's really serious stuff, right? So I really want you to not have phone calls and get distracted. If you're here, take full advantage and go back and work with your team on implementing this stuff. Because Brian will be covering 10 areas. He'll be talking about how to be a great leader, how to have great products and services, how to have a better business plan, a great business plan, how to do a great marketing plan, how to create great numbers, how to have a great customer experience, how to be a great business person, how to have a great sales process, and how to have a great life. We've got 10 different components which will cover most of it. Let me start this morning by talking about how do you begin to create a powerful and positive change drive. Because we are living in what we call a VUCA world, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So it's a very complex world. It's very hard to predict everything in the future. Things change dramatically. And how do you be nimble and flexible to be able to cope with all the demands you get? Some key points I want to make on the change drive is, first thing is, make sure you anticipate change. You don't get caught up with your pens now. You anticipate change, you become proactive. So when change comes, you're not shaken, you're not off balance, because you expect change to happen, right? So very important to anticipate as opposed to react. Yeah? React makes you go into firefighting mode, but anticipate means you're ready. Bring it along, come along, I'm ready. And I'm ready to face whatever change I want to face. And also get your team ready to be able to anticipate change. Secondly, you want to be adaptable, you want to be nimble, you want to be flexible. If you're too rigid, if you're too kind of, it's very difficult to cope with change because you're not ready to be flexible. Because things change so fast, you need to be ready to be nimble and flexible. If you notice in the banks in the country, in Kenya, in Tanzania, some of the small banks do better because they're nimble, they're faster. Some of the big banks, you have to go to South Africa, or to go to UK to get permission. It's very hard for them to mesh the other group who are much more faster in decision making. That's to be adaptable is very, very important. Number 3 is we all have bad habits. We all have some bad habits. What change does is it forces you to break your bad habits. Because when change comes, it makes you really think hard, how do I cope with it? And it forces you to change your approach. And sometimes it helps you to break some bad habits that you might have created in your life. And we all do at some point or the other. The next one is, sometimes from breakdowns you get breakthroughs. Okay? And change creates breakdowns because something drastic happens and now everybody has to operate differently. But it also allows you to create breakthroughs. So don't be afraid of breakdowns, don't be afraid of unlearning what you learned, because all this stuff allows you sometimes to create breakthroughs in your life, because all of us have enormous capacity, all of us have enough power, and you need some kind of a real jolt to create that breakthrough. Yeah? To be ready for that kind of expectation. Now there's one thing that doesn't change. There's one thing in your life that doesn't change. Everything else changes. What is that one thing that doesn't change? What? Anybody? What is the one thing that doesn't change? Sorry? Attitude? Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Attitude. What else doesn't change? Your core principles don't change. Your core principles are your anchor. Everything else around you will change, but once you start messing with your principles, the foundation is gone. Yeah? Once you start messing around with your ethics and your principles, then you become so much easy to sway and very difficult to have an anchor in your life that creates foundation. Yeah? So that's very, very important. You have to be determined. You have to be determined to follow through with change and persist, because it's not easy to go through the whole process, right? And finally, you need to be able to engage people in the change process, because if you don't engage people, if you don't communicate with people, and they don't know what's going on, they're going to be very uncertain, very nervous, and suspicious, and all this will become very difficult to have the change process happen, right? So make sure you engage with your people, and the more you get people involved, the more you get people engaged, the more committed they are. When there's no involvement, there's no commitment. Yeah? So when you're doing a change process drive, which you might end up doing after this 2-day MBA course, because you'll take so many notes, so many ideas, so many things, get people involved, get people engaged, communicate well. And once they get involved, your change process will become a bit much more easier. Make sense? Yeah. The other thing is also make sure you empower people. Because if you don't empower people, you become a slave as a leader. Everything they want to do, they'll come to you. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Then they're not empowered. They're not decisive. They cannot make decisions, which means that the company cannot grow, because the company can only grow as much as you grow, and you only can do so much as an individual. But if you get your people empowered, then they are able to make decisions and get the ship moving forward. Yeah. Your power is inside, but your power inside is empowering, not overpowering. Overpowering means you are now the boss, you are the dictator, and everything comes through you, which makes your life much, much more difficult. Yeah? So make sure you engage, you empower, and ultimately what you want is you want to embrace change. You want to embrace change as something like a brother. You hug a brother, you hug a sister, you embrace change as part of your life. That this is something that happens with me all the time. And as I keep on changing for the better, I keep getting better and better every day in every way. Because I've embraced change for the positive, and it's allowing me to get better and better and better in every way. Make sense? And one more thing about change is become a lifelong learner. You go to school, we're learning 2 days here, which is great. But how do you become a lifelong learner? When I was with Brian Tracy and myself spoke in Johannesburg for 3 days. We spoke one full day and we had 2-day MBA. Then we were flying together from Joburg to here and we're sitting beside each other. In 3 hours, Brian Tracy, I don't think he wasted 1 minute. Apart from going to the bathroom, he was reading, he was writing, he was preparing, not even 1 minute. So, lifelong learner. I mean, he's written 70 books and he did 3 hours a day. Amazing. So, learning doesn't stop. You gotta be a continuous lifelong learner. Because I don't think all of us here sitting here have used 10% of our potential. I don't think we've used 10% of our innate gifts. So there's so much untapped potential in all of us, which is untouched, untapped. How is it going to be ignited? It'll be ignited by one idea, one thought, one inspiration, one spark. And when you get an idea, you got to run and act on it right away. Because if you don't do it, it's distinguished. Yeah? So you want to be a lifelong learner, learning every time and getting better and better every day in every way. Yeah? Any questions on the positive and powerful change management drive that you need to do, implement, execute your work that we're doing today? Any questions? Anything not clear about what I've said about the positive and powerful change management approach? And you've got some notes that I've given you in the handbook, but you can look at it afterwards. But from what I've said to you right so far, any questions? You know, whenever you want to change somebody or ignite something in somebody or create passion in somebody, is to find out what do they want. I started this morning by asking you, what is your expectation? Why did I do that? Because I need to know, what do you want? If I don't know what you want, we have a powerful 2-day program, but it has to align to what you want. Some don't. And make sure at least by the time we finish 2 days, it's aligned to your expectation. So when you're talking about somebody's needs, they're excited to start being. Because everybody has something on their forehead, right? It's called WIIFM. What does it mean? What's in it for me? So if you capture people's needs from what is in it for them, they become interesting. Because everybody's interested in their own life. So that's the starting point. So once people get interested in what they want, then they are more excited about the next step. And if you can help them achieve what they want, they will help you achieve what you want. One of my colleagues who died recently, his name was Zig Ziglar, used to have a beautiful line. He said, when you give other people everything what they want, if you give people what they want, you will get everything you want. So when you start taking care of other people's needs, they will start taking care of your needs. Generally, now unless you have a bad egg in the business, the organization, and if you have a bad egg, then you may want to get rid of that person because sometimes a bad apple creates a lot of negative energy around the business. So sometimes you have to make a bold move and move these people out. As you know, like people like companies like Starbucks and big companies in the world, their philosophy is hire slow, fire fast. And Brian will be touching about how do you hire people. He says 3 interviews with 3 different people in 3 different locations before you hire somebody. So it's a very slow process because somebody might fool you in one interview, but when you're there, you can find out something that you never knew about them. So when you do that, then you know you're going to hire right. And if somebody's not a right person, you want to get rid of them quickly before they become very difficult to get rid of. Yeah, so I think that's important. But obviously give them a chance, know what they want, meet their needs, and then make sure that they are involved in the process of change to create a positive outcome. And if they still have empathy, then you have to ask, is this the person, the right person for my team to get to where I want to go, to meet my targets in difficult circumstances, right? So I think, the first step I would say is that, when you're doing this, you get so many ideas. You get so many ideas. But then you cannot implement all the ideas. So you probably want to pick 1, 2, or 3 great ideas that are so important for you, so something you want to do right away. So that's one thing. Second thing is when you go back home to your organization, get your troops together, because everybody's not here for doing it, and make a half day with them or a full day with them and discuss these things. So now you get a bigger group, and what it does when you do that, you learn as well. Because how much you learn here, you still want to learn more. I stayed with Brian 2 days in Joburg, and I got my notes and I brought pencils today, not pen, because I want to erase something afterwards. Because once you write in pen, you cannot erase. So we need to go back and learn more because there's so much in there. So when you do the 1 day with your team, half day with your team, you get the team engaged, but also you're reinforcing the knowledge. And as a team, you agree what you want to do, and then you set targets together where you want to change and how will you measure your changes. So when the team gets involved, they get part of it, they agree on the new new numbers that you want to create or targets you want to create, and you agree upon what success looks like. You agree upon how will you measure success. You agree upon how will you know we're successful. What needs to happen. Now that will take time, but that's an investment. It's not an expense. It's not profit and loss. If you spend money, it's gone. It's investment, it's a balance sheet item, it's an asset, it appreciates. So that investment you are making your team will get some good foundation, some good clarity, and will be a great way forward. Because most companies, unfortunately, don't have clarity what the goals are. If I go to any organization and catch anybody in the middle and say, can you tell me what success looks like by end of day? They look at me. Can you tell me what success looks like by end of week? They look at me. They'll tell me, why are you bothering me? I'm busy. So people are busy working, but they don't know what success looks like. So how can they be empowered? How can they make decisions? But when they're part of that process and understand what success looks like, have clarity about what success looks like, have been involved in the process of creating success, then they can use discretion. They can decide what to say no to. You can only say no to certain things when you have a deeper yes. But if you don't have a deeper yes, you're going to end up saying yes to everything and then become so scattered in your energy and not achieve great success. Okay, so with that, my friend Brian is here.
So what we're going to talk about in the next 2 days is something that I've developed over many, many years. I did not graduate from high school, and I went out and I worked in entrepreneurship. I worked in a variety of different businesses, selling, and worked my way up into management. I was actually the chief operating officer of a $265 million company with operations in 3 countries. I've done importation, distribution, manufacturing, selling, marketing, real estate development, and many other things. And then in my 30s, I took an MBA course, a 2-year, 4,000-hour program, and learned almost nothing. But I did learn some interesting theoretical ideas. I've now worked as a consultant or as a trainer with more than 1,000 of the biggest companies in the world in 71 countries, plus worked with more than 10,000 small and medium-sized businesses. So I've got a little bit of experience, and I started to put this all together when the recession began in the U.S. in 2007, 2008. I put this program together called the 2-Day MBA, which was going to be a dramatic change agent for companies that were experiencing challenging and difficult competitive times. And since then, I've given this program all over the world and to universal acclaim. Because what it does is it opens your eyes to an incredible number of possibilities that you may not have thought about in the past. Now, my favorite word, and I talk about this in many places, my favorite word in business is the word clarity. Clarity, clarity. I think that 90 or 95% of success is because you're absolutely clear about who you are, what you're doing, and the goals that you want to achieve. Let me write this down. And most of our failure comes from lack of clarity. And I'll come back to this over and over again. And I'm going to help you develop tremendous clarity in an enormous number of areas. And sometimes one new insight, one light that goes off, one flash of clarity can change the whole direction of your business. And I've had several flashes that are contained in this program that literally have revolutionized businesses. Countless people who've been through this program have walked out in 30 days, after being in business for several years, within 30 days transformed their business. Businesses that were on the verge of bankruptcy suddenly do a complete turnaround and surge in sales and profits by simply practicing some of these things. So we're going to have a good time together. Now, last year, Warren Buffett started off with $2,000 in 1962. This year, his companies are worth $350 billion, and they're the 3rd largest company on the New York Stock Exchange. Last year, he made about $25 billion in profits, and is the 1st or 2nd, changing back and forth, richest man in the world, and he started with 0. And Bill Gates is his good friend, they play bridge together, is the richest man in the world, is worth $79 billion, except for some politicians we know who are actually richer than that, but their financial statements are not published. Anyway, So, and Bill Gates' father is also a very wealthy businessman in Seattle. So the three of them were talking at this dinner party at Bill Gates' home, and they were chatting away because they're good friends. And one of the other guests came up to them and said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I don't mean to interrupt, but you are three of the most successful people in the world. What would you say is the most important quality for success?" And all three stopped talking. Someone was watching this. All three stopped talking, and they all turned and simultaneously said, "Focus." Focus is the most important quality for success in modern business today. And then they looked at each other and they smiled and kind of laughed. And I came to that conclusion many years ago. In fact, I started a program for business owners in the year 2000. In 2001, called Focal Point. And it is how you pick your focal point, like a sniper picks their shots. How you pick your focal point in each area of your life. We now have an international coaching business called Focal Point Coaching, and we train coaches to go into companies and help business managers focus on the most important thing they can be doing. So focus is our second word. And these are our two words that we're looking for. And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions and give you a lot of exercises to do with each other. But these are our two goals. If you can have absolute clarity and focus and a better market. The reason I do that is so that they don't come back. Thank you. Ah, look at that. Thank you. What most people do is they take the ruined marker and they put it back here, and then it's there again next time. Good. So let us begin. We say here, we say you want to learn. Just a second here. So I can't get this.
So a few more people have just come in who were not there before. So while we're waiting, I will just continue with my discussion earlier about change in terms of what we need to do. So it begins with you. The change begins with you personally, because you cannot change the whole world if you cannot change yourself. And all of us have a lot of issues that we grapple with in our life that we are unable to move forward. And the biggest hurdle you have, the biggest hurdle in the process will be who? It will be you. Why is it you? What is it about you that's going to be the biggest hurdle? Your mind? What else? Attitude, yeah. Sorry? Habits? Habits, yeah. Yesterday we talked about, I mentioned about the habits of the greatest salesman in the world was first of all to understand that you're a miracle, that you're unique, that you're special, you're precious. So if you realize that, then you become authentic. And although being authentic, it should be so easy to be natural you, but for most people it's very difficult to be a natural you because you've been conditioned by your parents, you've been conditioned by your teachers, you've been conditioned by your peers. And what happens is that you become to know who you are based on what other people think of you, as opposed to know you who you really are from within you. But when you become authentic, what happens? You bloom like a flower, you fly like a bird, you shine like a star. So natural and so effortless. Because you never see a bird struggle to fly, you never see a flower struggle to bloom, you never see a star struggle to shine. It's so natural. But we have so much stress because we have forgotten to be who we are. We are being somebody else who we are not. Yeah? So knowing yourself deep down and knowing that you're a miracle the way you are, you don't have to be somebody else. You have to be you, the best you that you can be, then magic starts to happen. So we talked about that yesterday in terms of you're a miracle. We also said that you need to multiply your goals because most people aim too low. When you aim too low, your ideas, your outlook, your thoughts, your brainstorming, everything becomes low. So you have enough capacity within you, but your goals trigger that capacity. Your goals trigger that ambition. Your goals triggers that ideas. Your goals triggers that commitment from people around you. But when you have very low goals, you start to think low, you start to act low, you start to do everything which is geared towards low because you think low. So aim higher. I mean, don't be unnecessarily kind of crazy, but the higher you aim, the chances are the higher you reach. So, Mandino says in his book, a mulberry leaf touched by the genius of men becomes silk. A field of clay touched by the genius of man becomes a castle. A cypress tree touched by the genius of man becomes a shrine. And a cut of sheep's hair, touched by the genitals of man, becomes a garment for a king. If a leaf, or a wood, or a hair, or a clay can multiply 100, yea, 1,000-fold, why cannot it do the same with the clay that bears my name? I have unlimited potential. Only a small amount of my brain do I use. Only a part of my muscles do I flex. So when you believe in yourself, then things start to happen. Yeah? So that's number 2 we discussed this. Number 3 we talked about is master your emotion. We're all emotional people. You know, sometimes somebody hurts you. One lady I met in India, she told me somebody stabbed her. And I said, what happened? So my friend stabbed me. I said, you're still alive? He says, no, I'm still alive. She backbited me. I said, when did it happen? It's 8 months ago. So people carry a small emotional hurt for 8 months. And it destroys their productivity, their performance, and so on and so forth. So you have to master your emotion, because emotions, you see, human beings are emotional. The whole world in nature is emotional. Like tides come, tides go, sun rises, sun sets. So you see this happening all the time, right? So how do you master your emotions so you don't get affected by it? Even this whole thing that's happening, you can either be affected, faced by it, or you say, it's okay, no problem. Because life will throw curveballs at you. And either you get shackled, or you say, okay, no problem. The more I get shackled, the more I get energized, right? So it's about how you take things in life, how you make a minus into a plus. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can make a plus out of a plus. It takes wise people to make a minus out of a plus, right? So it boils down to your emotion. What are you telling yourself when things happen, when something goes wrong? You plan your day, and traffic is too much, and now you're an hour late. What happens? Hey, you can make some phone calls. If a driver going, you take a nap. You can do meditation, whatever. You can make use of that time when you're put in a spot where you didn't expect something to happen. And you can call your client and say, this is what's happened, give them a warning so that they don't wait for you and waste their time. So there are many things you can do in life when things throw you off guard. Yeah? That was the third point we discussed. The fourth point we discussed was that you have to have some kind of caring inside you. Like when I'm talking to you right now, if I'm talking from the mouth, it's not going in your ears. If I'm talking from the heart, it enters your heart, because it's coming from a place from within. So when you come from love, when you come from care, when you come from authenticity, you connect with people. It's not about communication, it's about connecting, right? Communication is easy, connection is very hard. So you have to connect with people because you care about people, you want people to succeed, you don't just make things up. So same thing applies to your team, same thing applies to your family, and so on and so forth. So it's very important to be able to make that connection between each other, right? So we talked about that yesterday. We also said every day is the last day. Every day is the last day, meaning if this was the last day in your life, what would you do? If this was the last day of your life, what would you do? What would you do? You make sure that you leave every second. Every second is important because I only have 21,600 seconds left before I'm going. So every second counts. The clock stops because your body, your mind, your spirit, your attention is in the moment. Because every second counts. Because you don't have too much time left. So you want to live fully. You want to stop the clock. You want to make sure that every second expands. And guess what happens when you do that? One day becomes like 1 year, maybe 10 years, because you're living every moment. People have lived 30, 40, 50 years, they don't know where the time went. It's like a twinkling of the eye, because they forgot to live. So it was like a cruise, every day was mechanical. When you live a mechanical life, life loses meaning. So every day counts. Last day, today's the last day. One more sale, one more call, one more this, one more that. Forgive somebody who's hurt you. Ask for forgiveness somebody you hurt. Whatever. Say I love you to the closest people in your life, because everything counts. Yeah? Sometimes we forget to value people in our life. I remember one day I was flying from Canada to London, and on the flight I was watching a movie. In the movie there was something about a father. And I said to myself, I've never told my father I love you. I never told my father I love you. So in the flight I made a decision, when I get to London, England, I'm going to phone my dad and say I love you. Now it was many years ago, okay? So I reached London Heathrow. Now I don't know how many of you have gone to London Heathrow many years ago. To make a phone call is a big deal. Find coins, and put the coins in the thing. There was no things that we have today, or the gadgets we have today. So I got to London, it took me a long time to get enough coins to phone Canada, and I made a phone call. My father picked the phone. And I was ready, a few hours of preparation to say, I love you. And I choked. I couldn't say it. I changed the topic. It's so hard to say I love you. And then trying to do business. How can it be so hard to say I love you? What's the big deal? But now I can tell my father I love you because I practicing it. So sometimes we get so caught up in our own lives, we get so caught up in our own thing, we forget to care for people who really care. And it means a lot to them. You know, my daughter just sent me an email 3 days ago. You know, I just sent her about the Johannesburg experience. We had a great experience in Johannesburg. We had 3,000 people. Both Brian, Tracy, and I got a standing ovation. It was electrifying. Some people came to you one by one, talking to you. Felt so, and the MBA program was phenomenal. Every one of the people, many of them had done an MBA for 2 years, and they said to me, Azim, this program was far more superior than the 2 years I went to MBA. It was practical, something I could apply on Monday morning, and so on and so forth. So I wrote to my daughter about the experience, and she replied back, saying amazing in capital letter with 3 or 4 exclamation marks. Now, I don't know why, but it meant a lot to me, because my daughter is not expressing it. She doesn't normally comment. First of all, it's so hard to get hold of her. If I phone her, it's always an answering question. They're so busy. She's 26 years old. But her small comment meant when you feel good. If a daughter says to you something good, you feel good. So I realized when I tell my daughter that you're amazing, that I love you, I miss you, it means love to her too. So we don't realize the little things that we do for our families, for people who care about, it means a lot to everybody. So when you come from that place, there is something that you feel good and others around you feel good as well. So I think that's very important. The next thing we talked about was that, start afresh every day. I told you the Sufis, say that you breathe 21,600 times every day. And you breathe every breath. Just take a deep breath. With every breath, you become a new person. You become a fresh. So you get a chance to become a new person 21,600 times every single day. So you don't want to be the same old boring mechanical person. You go to work every morning, they see you in the same clothes, the same mood, the same action, the same this. People get bored with you because there's nothing about you, there's nothing new about you. So how do you come every day fresh, newer, positive, so that when people see you, they feel that there's something fresh about you, something new about you. And you feel energized too, because you're always becoming a new person. In life, it's not how much you make, it's what you become. So what are you becoming? What newness about you are you becoming? That's so important, right? And then I talked to you about, that never forget to pray. Whatever you pray, whatever it is that you believe in, there's always a divine force. There's always a divine force. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah? Even this mishap is happening for a reason. None of us know why it's happening, but it's a reason. Okay? Now, if you are a person who is an inverse paranoia, you know what an inverse paranoia is? Somebody get paranoid. Okay? And what is an inverse paranoia? It's somebody who says, whatever happened is the best thing that happened. If a tire gets flat, best thing that happened. Okay? If your wife nags you, best thing that happened, right? So if you get like that, you're an inverse paranoia, which means anything that happens, you say it's the best thing that happened. Because there's a reason why things happen. Okay? Now, I'm going to continue with my next topic because I'm taking Brian's time now with his problem with the computer there. So let's talk about my next topic, which I was going to take half an hour later, but I'm going to take it now so that we catch up. Okay, so my next topic was transforming negative ego into positive pride. Okay, I wrote a book called 7 Steps to Lasting Happiness, which took me 10,000 hours to write. 10,000 hours is like 5 years of full-time work. Okay? Now, if you ask me, Azim, can you summarize these 10,000 hours in one line? You know what the line would be? Most of your unhappiness comes from ego, your negative ego. And you tell me, Azim, how so? I will tell you, write down your problems. 1 problem, 2 problems, 5 problems, 10 problems, 100 problems. Write down all your problems, and you go through each one of your problems, you'll find that you are involved in the problem. If you're not involved in the problem, there will be no problem. So who's the problem? You. So you is the ego. So you are unhappy because you have your ego coming the way that makes you feel something is not right. So if you are not involved, if your ego was not involved, guess what? There will be no problem. So the goal is the subject should disappear in the object. The object is the goal, subject is you, and you are the ego. So if you're able to overcome yourself in a bigger goal than you, guess what? There is no problem. Because now you are caught up with a goal larger than yourself. It consumes you. It's so important for you, and that becomes your life, right? Because every day you wake up with a goal larger than you. and you get consumed in the bigger goal of your life, right? So I think that's very, very important. Now most people say, I don't have an ego, right? Most people think they don't have an ego. And when you say, I've mastered the ego, guess what? That's ego. I've mastered my ego. So now ego is coming in to say, I've mastered my ego. So ego is very subtle. And when you think you're overcoming ego, it comes from the back door. It sneaks in, and before you know, you're caught back in the ego.